Okay, guys, day 8, and we watched One Cut of the Dead, which is a movie that I've wanted to see for a while, and my problem is with movies is that I'm too ambitious, and there's so many movies that come out all the time that I just really like to watch all of them, and of course I don't realistically have enough time, but I like to think I do, and this is one of those movies that I've wanted to see for a while, so I thought, with 31 Days of Horror, I'm just gonna wipe it out and just finally watch it, and with Joe Bob Briggs, Late Night Drive-In as well, which is really awesome because I've been watching all of his stuff again. So the movie itself, One Cut of the Dead, is a Japanese horror comedy, and I'm gonna be very discreet on what I'm saying with the plot because this movie is very fun whenever you don't know the plot. But the basic plot that's everywhere, well, spoiler free, basically, is that this filmmaker is making a movie in Japan, and then a zombie outbreak happens, and that's all I can say. And it's a horror comedy, and I think what they do in this movie genuinely got me because the movie itself, it's one of those movies that, like watching the Joe Bob Briggs segments. I don't know why I can't say that right. He was talking about how this was so low budget, and the way, and I think he said like I forgot exactly what he said the amount of money was for this, but it was really not much at all. It There really wasn't much money put into this at all, and he is definitely one of those people that is very strongly for movies that are very low budget and movies that can be great with low budgets because there's many movies that have a giant budget that can be bad, but there's a lot of movies that have a low budget that can be great as well, and vice versa. And that just really struck true with me whenever was watching the movie, that this movie does a great job of being really unique for its genre, but also being a movie that with a low budget, it gives all that it can and makes it great. It doesn't have to have a big budget. It doesn't have to be a movie that has $1 million. It doesn't have to be a glossy movie. And I think that the movie looks great for its budget. It looks really freaking good. And the thing I like too is that the humor in this has so many layers to it because without spoiling it, it just does a great job of really pushing the fact that this movie is much more than what's on the surface. And if you're a fan of just filmmaking in general, like I feel like this is a movie that you need to see. This is not a movie that you have if you're not a horror fan, I feel like I could still recommend this to you. If like a person wasn't a horror fan, I think I'd still recommend it and say it's really good. Especially if you're a fan of just movie making movies in general, well made movies. And this just really fell into that category of just a really, really well made movie. And the movie is split in a couple different like sections, and all of them are interesting too because like I said, without spoiling it, it does a good job of giving you a lot of different things in this movie that you don't expect, and they do it in segments, and they do a great job with that because they make the movie more fascinating as opposed to being just straight up going one way through the whole movie, as opposed to what they do in this, which again they just do a fantastic job of. And I really just thought the acting was really good, and I really liked the main guy, like this filmmaker guy who is so unapologetically just pushy towards these actors. And the more I've learned in life, you've got to have somebody push you for something to make you better at something. And there's a thing in this movie, this isn't really a spoiler, but there's like an actress who is not very good at the beginning, and as the movie goes along, she gets better. And I think it's because this guy pushes her, and like there's a difference between like an asshole and a guy pushing you with like making you better at something. So I really like that they kept that in this movie because I feel like the world now, not the whole world, and this is a tiny tangent, but the whole world is really soft because you can't have anybody push you to do anything anymore. People don't get pushed to do anything. So it's something that I like to see from a personal standpoint because I just feel like the world is not being pushed for anything anymore. Like people can be lazy and do whatever they want and not really gain anything for it or work hard for it. And I'm not saying everybody, you know what I mean. Just from a personal tangent. And I work in a place where it's like It's where you have to be pushed. Like you have to be pushed to be better. So I like that. I like that I see that I see that in this movie compared to real life, because I like whenever people push people to be better as opposed to them just like if this actress in the movie just stayed herself throughout the movie where she was bad at the beginning, then she wouldn't have learned anything. And I just like that they did that in the movie. Um and that's all I can really say without spoiling it. This one's hard to talk about because it is so good. It really is genuinely a great movie, and it actually, just watching it, surprised me so much, and how much they really went into detail with this movie. And it does a great job of that. And again, I'm just saying the same thing over and over. It's great, it's great, it's great. And I know a lot of people probably definitely agree. I know that this movie got a lot of praise. In Japan, it like sold, like I think it said it sold out in like 6 days. Um, or it made like a whole lot of money in like 6 days, something like that. But it was it was really successful in Japan, and then here it became pretty successful as well. Even though it's more of a cult status, I guess, but it's still considered a great movie, and I noticed that critics really dug it here as well. So it's definitely one that I recommend you guys go out and watch. Again, I'm being very vague here, but I can't really say much about it. And you've probably already seen this movie because, like usual, I'm late to the game. But like I said, this one I think is really worth it if you haven't seen it. So definitely go check One Cut of the Dead out. And that is it for today, day 8. So stay tuned for day 9 tomorrow, 31 days. And thank you guys for watching.